Hello and welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast, and I am your host, Samuel. In this podcast, I interview top medical sales reps and leading medical sales executives across the entire country. And it doesn't matter what medical sales industry, from medical device to pharmaceutical to genetic testing to diagnostic lab, you name it. You will learn how to either break into the industry, be a top 5% performer within your role in sales, or climb the corporate ladder. Welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. Hello and welcome to the Medical Sales Podcast. I'm your host, Samuel, and today we have with us another special guest who goes by the name of Veronica Vasek. Now, Veronica, in this interview, Veronica is a diagnostic testing sales representative, and she sells a test for detecting or helps detect breast cancer. And in the name of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, this episode couldn't be more timely. But I'm not going to spoil you by telling you anything. I'm going to let you listen to the interview. As always, we do our best to bring you guests that are doing things differently in the medical sales space. And I really do hope you enjoy this interview. Hey, Veronica, how are we doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Samuel?
Fantastic. Why don't you tell the audience who you are and what you do?
My name is Veronica Vasek, and I am a diagnostic sales consultant.
Diagnostic sales consultant. So many terms in medical sales. What exactly does it mean to be a diagnostic sales consultant?
A diagnostic sales consultant is somebody who provides testing and results to patients along their medical journey.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's break that up a little bit. So these tests that you sell, do providers already are they well aware of these tests? And you're just another provider of a common test, or is it something new and innovative that they've never seen before? How does it work?
So right now, I currently sell a molecular residual disease test, and it is new to market. It's a personalized tumor-informed approach to molecular residual disease. And so what we do is we create a personalized assay for the patient that can track them along their cancer journey. And like I said, it's new to market, so we are definitely teaching physicians new ways to test their patients and then also help treat their patients.
This sounds fascinating. Give us an example, if you can. What does this look like? Like, give us maybe a patient example and what the physician's experiencing, and then them thankful that you came in because you showed them this test.
So a good example would be if a patient is in remission for breast cancer. Insurance is going to have them do a scan once a year, and that's all they qualify for. And the patient's always going to have what's called scanxiety. And every time they go in for the scan, they're wondering what the results are going to be. They're wondering if there's a progression, in the last 6 months since they've had one.
Right.
And so what our test does is it basically allows the patient to take a look at their cancer and make sure that they're in remission still. So rather than doing that once a year scan, they can do a blood test every 6 months to 3 months and see if there's any cancer in their bloodstream. And so for a physician, that gives them the opportunity to treat their patients 8.7 months before a scan will pick up a tumor.
Wow. That's for cancer. My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. She went into full remission, thank God. But 8 months to not know, that just sounds like a world of time when dealing with cancer.
Yes, and when you're treating patients, that can be a difference in life and death. And also, I'm sure with your mother, she probably wonders, is this going to come back? How am I going to know in time? And this test offers that to patients. It offers the ability to catch it early on if it comes back.
So I almost feel like something like that should be mandated, right? Why wouldn't any healthcare entity want to be in front of knowing exactly what's going on with their patients as soon as possible?
Well, Samuel, that's what we're kind of working on right now, is getting it to be on every panel when a patient goes into oncology.
Okay. So how does it work as far as the business? Are you just showing up cold calling on physicians and saying, hey, I want to talk to you about a test that can change your practice? Talk to us a little bit about that.
So it's a combination of a lot of different things. So we do get a lot of news press, and that will actually prompt patients to go to their oncologist or their surgeon and say, what is this? How do I get this? So there's that, and they'll direct them to us. I do a lot of cold calling to find a, practice that is interested in our type of testing. And then also I do work with pharmaceutical reps to see what physicians they're working with that are writing certain prescriptions for patients. Because I know that if they're writing this prescription or giving this type of treatment, that they're going to want to hear about my testing.
Got it. How long have you been in this role?
I've been in this role for almost 2 years.
2 years. And tell us a little about your experiences before this. I know you've touched a few different things, pharma, med device. Take us back to college and take us back to senior year. What was in your mind? What were you thinking you were going to go and do? And tell us what happened.
Okay, so senior year, I'm getting ready to graduate, and I thought I'm going to hit the ground running. And I applied to probably about 300 companies, and everybody asked the same question: do you have experience? And I said, no, can you give me that experience? And they all said, come back when you have it.
Right.
So
Makes so much sense.
It's catch 22. I'm like, well, somebody give me a chance. So after doing some recon and talking to some people, I was told to try Enterprise. You know, if you work for Enterprise car rental, that a lot of companies will take you if that's on your resume. So I did. I went and interviewed at Enterprise.
Out of college?
Yes.
So wait, but okay, so you knew you wanted to be a medical sales rep out of college. How did you learn about that industry?
I learned about medical sales. So there's a documentary and it's called The Bleeding Edge. And it talks about FDA approval. And I had my own personal experience.
Oh,
My dad had a cobalt hip replacement.
okay.
And cobalt now, as we know, is toxic to the body.
Right.
And so having that experience, I thought, how can I be involved in the medical field
Wow.
and really make an impact?
Nice.
But I had a thing with needles. So I was like, I definitely can't be a nurse. So what's next? So, and that's where I came across medical sales.
That's fascinating. Okay. So you're at Enterprise. What happens?
So I interviewed with Enterprise and they offered me the job. And I said to myself, I checked in with myself and I said, Veronica, can you really go and clean cars right out of college? Is this where we're going? The answer was no. I was like, and God bless the people that do that, the people that go and clean the cars and all that. It's a very difficult job and it's earning your stripes to get into medical sales. But I felt like I needed to do something a little bit different. So I applied to work under a distributor and I went right into surgical sales.
Okay.
So I did spine device and biologics for 3 years, and working under a distributor, you definitely do earn your stripes as well. It's very hard work. There's not a lot of women in spine, just because you're on call with your surgeons. So you spend a lot of time and holidays away from your family. So I did that for 3 years.
Okay.
And I had a unique opportunity to go into diagnostics. And I was approached by a company called Stratus. At the time, they were called Alliance Family of Companies, but they were acquired. And they offered me a territory role for neurodiagnostics.
Okay.
So I was very interested in the role. I did some research and I took it. And as soon as I got into the field, I learned so much about our healthcare system and specifically how it works in California, because it's very, very different.
Sure.
And which creates a lot of challenges. So I did that for a couple of years and then I had my son. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to try pharmaceutical. I've always kind of felt like it wasn't necessarily for me, because if you're in medical device, they don't take pharmaceutical reps. You can't just go from one to the other.
They do, but you need to be a performer. You need to be a high performing pharmaceutical rep. But I get what you're saying. There is a bias with medical device towards pharma. You're absolutely right.
There's definitely a bias. And I wanted to try it out and see what it was about. And
but why did you? So then you're telling us that the neuro diagnostic role, it was too demanding to do that as a new mother. Is that why you wanted to make a change?
No, the company was being acquired, and there's a lot of changes that take place when there's an acquisition. And I really loved that I came to this company when it was a startup.
Got it.
And so when you go and you work for a startup, you get to help create the process along the way.
Floor. Yeah.
And you can give your input and it really matters. It's not just a suggestion box.
Right.
So, I wanted to find something that made a little bit more sense for work-life balance, because the diagnostics role and the surgical role, they did take up a lot of my time. And here I had this, little person that, was just integrated into my life. And so, finding a work-life balance was important. And I thought, pharmaceutical could provide that, there's a lot of women in that field.
Sure.
So I got in and I quickly realized that it was not for me.
Tell us why.
Um,
Give us your personal opinion now. It's fine. This is safe space.
yes, yes. Pharmaceutical sales is just, it's a great field, but I always had some concerns in the back of my mind of like, am I doing the right thing for patients? Like, am I going to see these medications on the news in 5 or 10 years? I don't know. And so that was kind of a challenge for me, because going into medical sales and having the background that I did with my father, it was really important to me to sell something
Absolutely.
that I believe in and I'm 100% committed to, and something that I would do or give to my own child.
Absolutely.
So I did that for about 6 months. And then there was another diagnostic role in San Diego that opened up, and it was with Natera.
Okay.
So I jumped on that and I love it. I could not be happier.
Fantastic. Wow. Okay. So being a diagnostic sales rep, are you working with a team, or are you more like your own island and you got to kind of figure it out, and you're the nomad that's just working your territory and trying to get access to new business as often as you can? Talk to us a little bit about what the dynamic looks like.
So I have a counterpart that I work with. Her and I divide and conquer, and I think we make an excellent team. We do have some really large accounts, and we just figure out who's going to do what and what accounts are challenging and who can make the most progress in that account. We do get some leads sometimes from corporate. Like I said, we have some of the news coverage, and sometimes patients will hear from another patient like, oh, I'm getting a Signatera test, have you heard of it? And then it'll kind of forge the way for us to go and pursue that physician. So the physicians always do what their patients want them to do, so it's kind of in our favor for that. But
Do you ever talk to patients directly?
we have an intake team that talks. What happens is they'll run their insurance, and then there's a welcome team that will call and answer any questions that they have. It's not often that I do, but every now and then I will come across a patient who has reached out to Natera through the website, and they say, I'm interested and I just want more information. And then they pass that lead along to me, and I will talk to the patients and figure out, where are you at in your treatment process? What type of physician are you seeing right now? And how can we help?
So two-person team. So then when new people come to the company, is all the different regions made up of two-person teams, or is that just your area that's a two-person team?
It depends on the area, and it depends on the payer mix.
Okay.
And what type of coverage we have in that area. If you go somewhere like Texas, you're going to have probably, 4 or 5 reps in that state. But in California, it's a little bit smaller because of the managed healthcare system.
So is it Northern California and Southern California?
Yes. So they're split off into different teams. So my team is San Diego, Arizona, LA, and Las Vegas.
Got it. And would
Oh,
you
and
say, you said again?
Hawaii too.
And Hawaii. Oh, so you only go there every once a year?
No, so I actually don't go there. I stay local in San Diego, but our region is those states combined.
Got it. Okay. So with this kind of makeup in diagnostic testing, what do you spend most of your time out in the field? Is your time split between making calls at home and being in the field? What does the day-to-day look like?
So I think the day-to-day has changed a lot because of COVID. You could not catch me dead at home pre-COVID. I was always out in the field 5 days a week, and I did all of my administrative stuff on my own time.
Sure.
But now, because of COVID, there's a lot of Zoom meetings that I do. There's a lot of emails and phone conversations, but I still try to stay close to my roots, and I still go out there and pound pavement and cold call and try to get in front of people and build those relationships
Amazing.
organically. because it's still, no matter what direction we go in society, that's still the best way to build a relationship.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about, and I want to hear what's the most significant improvement you have made in a practice's in existence or a patient's life from the diagnostics test that you represent. Talk to us a little bit about what some of the biggest wins that you've heard.
In my current role,
Yes.
okay, so we have UCSD as one of our largest ordering accounts, and slowly but surely we're integrating through that institution into getting interest from a lot of the oncologists. And I think that is a very big win. When you have physicians that call you up and say, "Hey, this is my personal cell phone. I've heard about your test. How do I order it?"
Well, that's
You know?
huge.
Yeah,
That's huge.
I can't get there quick enough. I'm like, "I'm out the door right now. I'm coming to you."
Right.
I would say that a lot of the wins that my, territory has is when patients are in treatment and they don't know if their treatment is working, our test will tell you if it is. So when I see patients come through our portal and I'm tracking those patients, I can see what their results are, and I know what it means when it's good, and I know what it means when it's bad. And, to be able to provide a test that can help them at a quicker speed, I think, to me, is just, it's one of the reasons why I love what I do.
That's fantastic. Wow. Okay, so tell us a little bit about what makes an amazing diagnostic testing sales rep.
Someone who's detail oriented. If you're not a detailed person, then diagnostics is definitely not going to be for you, because you're tracking your patients and you're going to know, where they're at in their testing cycle when they need a new test. If, getting their pathology report is not attainable, if testing has failed, you need to know all of those things, because the last thing you want is a physician calling you up saying, "I have so and so in my office and we have no results." And then you're looking and you find out that tissue has failed. You don't want to deliver those news. And if you're not tedious and you're not following and tracking, you're not going to know that stuff. And you're going to quickly become a person that they can't rely on.
And I'm assuming when that happens, so does the end of your business.
Yes, it's the end of your business with that physician, because someone else is going to come along with the same or similar test and be that sales representative that is going to track their patients.
Sure. So being detail oriented, and I'm assuming that goes along with being very organized.
Yes. Yes, you have to be organized for this role.
Okay. Anything else?
I also think another thing too would be to be the type of person that knows who you're walking into a meeting with. You want to know what their specialty is and what they primarily focus on. And I think that's really important.
Absolutely.
A lot of times I see people just come in and wing it, and I'm like, well, you don't really know much about the physician and what their focus is. And then they struggle throughout the meeting.
Okay. Okay. What does the competition look like in this space?
There is a lot of molecular residual disease testing companies out there. We are the first to market with a tissue informed approach. With that being said, we have one competitor that does tissue as well, but I know a lot of them are coming up and they're getting ready to release their tissue informed test. So I think in the next 5 years, it's going to be a lot of companies that have the same test. And I think that this is going to be a standard protocol for any patient that comes in to see a surgeon or an oncologist and they have cancer. And as it should be.
Yeah, I mean, when you first told me about this, all I can think is, how in the world is this not mandated? How in the world is this not implemented into every single hospital setting around, and patients aren't getting this regularly? Okay. So when that happens, what does that mean for you?
What does it mean for me? It means a lot more business. It means a lot more accreditation. We do have some physicians now that are still iffy about it. And they're like, I'm not sure if this is something that I'm ready to do with my patients. This isn't something that's mandated right now. So why would I do it? So it gets over those barriers, and gives clinical relevance.
Give us, some of our listeners are in this space and they know exactly what you're talking about, but I want to get clearer on why would in a physician's mind, what sense does it make to him or her to not do this test?
So a patient or a physician, so here's a really great example. My aunt is a two-time breast cancer survivor. And I said to her, hey, this is a test that you need. This is something that's gonna help you. And she says, you know what? I don't want to know. If that is, if this is something that is going to take hold of my life, that's God's will. So that you get people like that. And then also with physicians, sometimes they're very set in their ways and they've been practicing medicine for a long time and they're just not a progressive thinker. So this is something where they're saying, well, I'm not sure about it. I'm not going to do it unless I have to. So those can be your challenges.
So would you say that it's primarily driven by the patient then?
The patient is ultimately the one that makes the decision. There are some patients that we've seen that have been in stage 4 cancer and their tumor is not growing. So they're staying in stage 4. They're not going up, they're not going down. And so they just don't want to know because they know it's terminal at that point. And so, they look at it as whatever is going to happen is going to happen. So
And then if
yeah.
I can ask, no, go ahead. What were you saying?
Yeah, so it's definitely there are some times where we will have a physician that's like, I'm not sure about this. And the patient's like, nope, I'm sorry, we're ordering this. I believe in this. And that's awesome for us because then we get this opportunity to change a physician's mind
Right.
and give them an insight into how our testing works.
Absolutely. And share what you can, but what stage or what condition is a patient in that this test benefits them the most?
It would benefit somebody the most, depending on their tumor type. But the majority of patients, when they're in stage 2 or stage 3, it would benefit them the most because you can do a resection.
Yeah.
And this test will tell you, did your surgeon get all of this tumor? If they're going to go through treatment, it's going to tell you, is the treatment working?
Mhm.
Because as we all know with cancer, a lot of the treatments can be really taxing on the body. And it's hard when you feel like, okay, I'm going through so much physically and now it's taking a toll on me emotionally. And I don't even know if this is going to work. But if you go into your physician's office and he says, no, I have proof that this is working, here's the proof. Just hold on. Let's keep doing this. You're going to get through this. The patient's going to leave with a lot of relief and a lot of clarity on their treatment. So,
Absolutely. Okay, let's switch gears a little bit here. So you are a family woman. How many children do you have?
I have 2.
You have two. And they're what ages?
Um, my daughter is 9 months and then my son is almost 4.
So you're doing the heavy lifting right now. How does this career mesh with being a full-time mom, taking care of little ones? Talk to us a little bit about how it all works.
Yes, I'm definitely in the thick of it with 2 under 5. So, there are a lot of nights where I need to get additional hours in to get, information to physicians. So I will put my kids to bed and then start working. There are a lot of times where I'll try to get up earlier than them and get out a few things that are absolutely necessary and then start my day with them and get them to childcare, and my son goes to a pre-K. And then that during the day is I'm just a powerhouse. It's like, okay, I got to get all these things done.
Knock it
These
out.
these I got to knock it out. These little people are going to come in the door at 5 o'clock, and that's when the clock stops. But I am very fortunate to have a wonderful partner who, we divide and conquer, and we support each other. And if there's a dinner or if I need to go to an event, he will definitely cover me. So
That is awesome. That is awesome. How much traveling? Now you have a territory, and your territory is pretty big, right? Because you said San Diego, you said Hawaii. Well, you don't go to Hawaii, but you said San Diego, you said LA. I mean, just San Diego and LA are literally 2 hours away from each other. How do you manage the travel?
So I actually only stay in San Diego. Our region is San Diego, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and Hawaii.
Okay.
So there's other reps in those territories, but we're all on a team and we collaborate if any of us need anything, or if there's a patient that is located in Hawaii but is coming to San Diego for treatment, we collaborate. But I am primarily in San Diego, very, very blessed to just be in San Diego.
No, you are. San Diego is it's a hot spot to be. Okay. So we're gonna switch gears a little bit more now. I want you to talk to us a little bit about, give us more of your philosophy on being in this space. Tell us a little bit about what can someone expect to make compensation wise, and then what type of person should or shouldn't consider being in diagnostic sales. We did address being organized and being detail oriented, but maybe a more 30,000 foot view, compensation, and the kind of, I don't know, maybe demeanor person you should be if you're considering getting into a space like this.
That's a great question. If you are a clinical person, this would definitely be a role for you. I don't think that somebody who, I don't think someone who doesn't want to build relationships this is the right space for them. I don't think someone who, if you don't want to do administrative work and you just want to go out there and sell, then I would say device would probably be, your where you want to be. When I was in device, all I did was put a sticker on a sheet and send it into billing, and then order my restocks. But diagnostics, you have to be tedious and you have to be willing to put in the work, and you also have to continually differentiate yourself from other sales reps and other companies, so you always have to stay current. If you're not interested in studies and presenting studies, this is definitely not the role for you, because we do a lot of when we do
Data heavy.
Yes, it's very data heavy, and sometimes the data can be complex. And you're talking to people who, they have a medical degree, so they're gonna ask you, very
Complex questions.
complex questions.
Yes.
So you have to be ready for that. So that's what I would say for somebody who, is considering diagnostic sales.
Got it. And what about compensation?
Compensation. So diagnostics, I think, is that sweet spot between pharmaceutical and device. So you can come in at a junior role and you're looking at a salary of anywhere between 70 and 90,000 for a junior role, and then plus commissions. For juniors, those are typically capped. And then if you're a senior sales rep, then you're probably looking at 90 to 140 plus commissions, and those are usually uncapped.
And uncapped means sky's the limit.
Uncapped means the sky is the limit.
And I want to say that you've probably seen what that sky's the limit looks like.
Yes, you are in control of your own income at that point.
That is awesome. That is exciting. That is very exciting. Okay. Well, this has been fantastic, Veronica. I feel like we have gotten a sound education on what it means to be a diagnostic sales rep. I have a question for you. You know what we do here at Evolve Success. How do you see programs like what we offer to help people get into positions?
When I was first approached with this opportunity to come and, talk with you guys and do the workshop, I was really floored and kind of jealous a little bit, because when I was getting into medical sales, I had to apply to 300 places and be told no 300 times. And I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know anyone in medical sales. I had no guidance whatsoever. And so I had to figure it out on my own. And I would have loved to have a program like this when I was getting into medical sales. So I definitely think what you guys are doing is great work, and it's going to help so many people.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience today?
If you or anybody in your family is going through a cancer journey, Signatera is definitely going to be for them. So look up Signatera, and check us out and
Absolutely.
see if it's something that will fit for your family member or for yourself for your cancer journey.
Can we add that to the show notes for this episode?
Yes, definitely.
We definitely will. So everyone, it's going to be in the show notes. Okay. Are you ready for the lightning round?
Yes, I think so.
She's like, I have no idea what he's talking about, but I'm going to say yes. Okay. You have less than 10 seconds to answer. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. Are you ready?
Do I have a choice?
Nope.
Okay. Well, then let's do it.
All right, let's do it. First question. What is the best book you have read in the last 6 months?
I haven't read a book in 6 months.
Okay. What is the best book that is the last book that you have read, whenever that was?
Conceptual selling.
Conceptual. Ooh, tell us a little bit more. What is conceptual selling? I haven't heard of that one.
Conceptual Selling is a really, really good book about different selling methods and how to utilize those tools. So, as I was talking about earlier, in how I will utilize pharmaceutical reps for testing,
Mhm.
got that from Conceptual Selling. So,
Wow, you actually got something from a book that you literally applied
yes.
to your job. Can we all give her a round of applause for that one? That's applied learning. I love it. Okay, what is the best movie or TV show you've seen in the last 6 months?
1923.
Oh, 1923. Oh, that's the spin-off of Yellowstone, right?
Yes.
Is it good? It's good.
It's really good. It tells the story before Yellowstone. So,
And who's the main one? And is that Harrison Ford? Was it Harrison Ford? Is it
yeah, it's Harrison
Harrison
Ford.
Ford? He
Yeah.
delivers. Oh, he always delivers. Okay.
Oh, yeah, he always
Yeah, he
delivers.
always delivers. Okay, that's cool. All right. What's the best meal you've had in the last 6 months?
The best meal that I have had. So I actually went to a restaurant in San Diego and it's called Addison's and it's a 3 Michelin star restaurant.
Ooh.
And I will not tell you the price because it was disturbingly high.
Ooh.
But it was a 9-course meal and I had 3 different types of caviar and it was incredible.
Wow. I am completely intrigued. Addison's is
Yes.
called?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have to see. I mean, I'm not far, I'm not too far, so I will definitely note that. Everybody heard it, Addison's in San Diego. All right, and then lastly, what is the best experience you've had in the last 6 months?
The best experience that I've had in the last 6 months. So I just went to Orlando for training and our whole company went. And I think it was the best experience I've had in the last 6 months of being able to connect with everybody in the company. And Natera does this crazy, crazy training where I call it terrorism because they literally make us sit in chairs and do elevator pitches.
Oh, wow.
So you have 60 seconds. You pitch that person and then you sit in the next seat and you get
I
a different
love it. That's
scenario.
good. That's gold right there.
It's intense and you're hearing so many different people's pitches, but you're picking up little pieces of information.
Yeah.
And that is stuff that like you can take into your role. Like somebody
Yeah.
said this is a fingerprint into the patient's tumor. And I was like,
Oh,
I love
wow.
that
That
because
is
that
awesome.
resonates with people and it's saying
Yeah.
like this is so personalized to the
Yeah.
patient. It's just like a thumbprint.
Yeah.
I think that experience, and it's always crazy when people from, the company get together and people get in trouble and the stories float around and,
That is awesome. That is
yeah,
awesome. Well, Veronica, where can people find you to congratulate you on the show, to ask you questions about diagnostic testing? Where can people find you?
I am on LinkedIn and I am always posting, new press releases for Natera and Signatera.
Awesome. So that will also be in the show notes. Veronica, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on the show today. Thank you for spending time with us.
Thank you so much, Samo. It was great spending time with you as well.
Absolutely. And that was Veronica Vasek. Interesting space, diagnostic sales. You might have heard this episode and said to yourself, you know what? I can absolutely see myself doing this. I want to explore this as a pathway. What do I do next? You already know. If you listen to the Medical Sales Podcast, even just one episode before you listen to the episode you just heard, then you already know what I'm going to say. But guess what? I'm going to say it anyway. You want to get into medical sales. You're not sure where you want to be within medical sales, but you know you want to be in that field, whether it's as a clinical specialist or as an actual sales professional or some other ancillary position, but you know you want to be in the commercialization of services, products, and drugs to patients through providers. If you know you want that, then you need to make sure you go to evolveyoursuccess.com. Click apply, fill out the application, schedule some time, and speak to one of our account executives, and let's talk about how you can get your medical sales career started within the next 3 to 4 months. We're going to continue to bring guests that are giving you insights into medical sales. But if you're thinking about making a move, keep listening, of course, but let's take some action. I'll say it again. Visit evolveyoursuccess.com, click apply, and let's get you where you want to be. As always, we do our best to bring you guests that are doing things differently and innovating in the medical sales space. So please tune in next week for another episode of the Medical Sales Podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And remember, I have a couple programs that show you exactly how to break into the medical sales industry, become a top-performing medical sales professional, and also how to masterfully navigate your career to executive-level leadership. Check out these programs and learn more at evolveyoursuccess.com. Stay tuned for more awesome content with amazing interviews.